preparing that stream, so like I said, today's lecture is the upliftment of fallen humanity, okay? Economic security. All right, well, and where are you guys? Let me come back. All right, so yeah, we're live on YouTube too. But today's lecture is on fallen humanity, economic security, and the relationship of those, and also all of it, coming from the prophet's point of view, right? The prophet laid out such divine lessons. A lot of people get them, and we are truly living up, doing our best to live up to them, right? But it's not a simple thing because of the intelligence of our divine prophet and the intelligence that he is requiring us to step up to, right? These lessons, man, make you sharp on a lot of levels, right? When we understand that which it is and not what it appears to be, but what it is, in its reality of today. So I say that to lay the premise, but let's get right into it. All right, so we have to stick to our questionnaire. Let me find it here. Is that it? That's it. All right, so let me share my screen here. We're going to be going through a few documents today dealing with the prophet and what he's saying about certain things. Okay. And, we're going to look at it and go over it. So praise Allah. So, kind of take a few deep breaths and, we're not going to go long. We'll do an hour and 30 minutes, maybe, maybe an hour and 45 minutes, but we'll try not to go, no more than. All right. So let's see here. Hopefully you guys can see that by now. If I ask that, that means, I'm not able to see if you're seeing it. So not too repetitive asking. Okay, so in the Quran questionnaire for Moorish children or for Moorish Americans, all right, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali asked a few particular questions here. All right, and we want to look at that. All right, so we were dealing with earlier now, in earlier Sunday schools, we went over number 8, who was the founder of the Moorish Scientific of America? Number 9, what year was the Moorish Scientific of America? And we understood that asking that particular question, also saying who is the founder of politic, right, or the nation state, etc. We proved that, right? So let's move on with that kind of in mind. All right, so let's move to number 14. No, excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Number 15. So this is the topic, really, where we're going. Number 15, for what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? All right, for the uplifting, of fallen humanity. Okay, this particular one, too, is not where we're going to repeat. And please keep your mic maybe a little bit on mute, right? So unless you have a question, and then just, ask the question. All right. So number 15, for what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? Uplifting of fallen humanity. All right. And it also, very important, we're going to come back to it. Quick. All right, number 16. How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves. Number 17. What is our religion? Islamism. All right, so we're going to deal with those three. And we're going to deal with those three in a few ways. We're going to back to 15, for what purpose, right, was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? Now, it's very important to understand that it had a purpose. A lot of people out here creating things in their own particular ideas of what it should be and of who said what. No, it should go this way. Well, wait a minute. The prophet already put down what it is, and he put it in stone for all to see. Dealing with the Quran, the divine constitution and bylaws, and the Quran questionnaire, pretty much all of the sects of, we'll just call it that today, the sects of the Moorish Science Temple of America have those particular things in common, right? And so that's why it's very important to see, where people are at. Okay? So number 15, please put your, here, I got you. So number 15, for what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? So in other words, when we're looking at that, like I'm saying, it has a purpose. So no, it wasn't purpose for you to go out and start the council or the councilate, whoopie bam, woom woom, and got that out there like that. So, people are doing very strange things. But anyway, it says for the uplifting of fallen humanity. Okay. Now, that's very profound when you understand the esoteric, fallen humanity, another word for that. And people get extremely confused because they're relying on a European psychology to tell stories of high science at a time when high science was on the planet. You got somebody in this particular age trying to tell something that happened in the third age when the Atlanteans, or the fifth age, when the Atlanteans was running things, and you have people in this particular age that's been dumbed down trying to explain that, and here we are, the descendants of those particular people who did that, listening to people interpret our stuff. This is very sick. And I mean sick in it's a dis-ease because you're saying someone knows your ancestors things better than you. And that means that you don't know who you are. All right, so when we're looking at for the uplifting of fallen humanity, another word for that, and do not take this wrong, but fallen humanity can also be fallen angels. When you get a clear understanding and not spook it out with their misinterpretation of with their clan God trying to supplant the God. When you get a clear understanding, what I'm saying, who humanity really was and is, this fallen state of humanity also means to fall into the gross state of matter. Spirit man. At that stage in the spirit part, you're pretty much perfected, or excuse me, in a pure state. And then through eons of understanding and how things go, you decide to go through a purified state. And now we call this perfected man. To get to this, which was proved by our brother Justice. So now these lessons are in direct relationship to where Justice went to go learn, or Jesus, right? And it tells us in this divine lesson that we are reading, he went into Egypt and learned, and then we learn that in our Quran also. Then we understand that our prophet, Egyptian adept, student, and then he graduated from a student, if you understand the signs and symbols for mind. And then laid this particular lessons here for us. So let's look at the uplifting for those who had chose to come into gross matter to take the trials like our brother Jesus did, so that we can come perfected man in the sights of Allah, the Creator. It gets much deeper than just the uplifting upon humanity. Very deep. The prophet's science is, we're talking for an infinite mindset. Finite mind can't comprehend things infinite. This is an old Egyptian saying, or a Tamarian saying. Egypt, Tamarian, same thing. And that's why he said it. That's where he learned. All right, so let's look at this though from a point of view of now and where we're at in today's reality, utilizing these divine lessons that we can get out of a particular situation that we see coming up on us and are coming up out of and are current. And sometimes most people may be currently in. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And let's see how to get up out of the thing or to uplift this growth state of matter where it becomes more conducive to work with to our benefit instead of always getting the result of disappointment or a living in a state of dis-ease. How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? First, must did the things he said to do to become a Moorish American. And then it's going to start to make a lot more sense to you when you go do Act 6. You do the knowledge to Act 6, you know what I'm saying? You get the understanding of what God's trying to tell you. So by teaching them to be themselves, oh, this is so beautiful. How did the prophet begin to uplift those angels, the Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves. In other words, reintroducing us, to who we are because we lost consciousness. Keep it 100, amnesia. And woke up in some type of psychotic matrix. By teaching them to be themselves. Keep that out. Well, that's chapter. How many cells are there? These lessons are a loop.
Islam.
These lessons are an ecosystem. So you can recolonize your mind so that you can move here at will. You are in control. I'm going to show you. Right? By teaching them to be themselves. This is why it gives you a breakdown in the Quran of the two selves. Then it gives you the strength or the power, which is the thought, which then moves down to you thinking and then putting these things into deeds into action, and then seeing the result on the plane of manifest of the power, right? So that you can get some peace here. Right? This is called Islamism. Why the next one is, for the knowledge of God, since, what is our religion? Islamism. What do you mean the knowledge of God? Well, man is spirit, man, having no beginning, having no ending, thought of Allah, Lord of the plane of manifest. Perfected man came back, who we now know is Noble Drew Ali, to show us a particular way, got the land back being ruler of the land, which we know, the pure one, the sons of Allah, as he said, a pure one, who reached the particular plateau that he has now given us to reach. So Islamism, which is political in its nature, which ties into the entire parts of the community, which then deals with economics. Because right now, Moors are free who have done what the prophet said, but still maybe suffering a little bit of economic slavery. So it is the economic part that we're going to also look into too and see how to uplift out of that slime by understanding what we have already gotten, which is the uplifting that the prophet is giving us. Well, that's why he said, how did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish American? The Moorish Americans. Yes, plural, Moorish Americans. Now that goes again, that you've already went through Act 3, Act 4 and 5, you study, been there studying, you right? You didn't proclaim, and then you did your other proclamation, and now you're standing as a Moorish American or a national, you know what I'm saying? Okay. And now the being yourself comes into understanding your place in society. It is understanding then the laws that govern you in society so that you can stretch out and move with peace and get your house in order, or these lessons would mean nothing. If I'm not able to implement being myself in today's reality, then the lessons just become some, it's good and they're good, and but it can be shelved. But no, these lessons are, and shelf these lessons, you might shelf your life if you understand, right? So let's look at this. All right, so please put your mics on mute. It says, what is our religion? Islamism. Okay, so let's go look at what the Prophet Drew Ali also said on Islam. All right, I'm going to do less talking and more reading. Or let us deal with what he said. Let us connect this to what he said to what I was saying about economic security. Okay? Because to uplift out of a thing is also to uplift out of poverty. He gave us the tools to do that. All right. And before I move, I know where people are at, and I know what people are asking for and what they want. But I know, and some of the new people need to realize too that, not new, but Moors need to realize too that things are done by law, right? So just say, I give you next steps to go do a thing and you do it. But then, there's no place for you to properly secure your security agreement at. That then will function with the Form 56 or any one of these estate planning things that we have for you, but no one's holding anyone back. I just want to let you guys know that. It's that things have to be done in law so that you're protected and you're safe, and where everyone moves at a group effort, because the prophet said, I can't treat anyone special, including. All right, so check this out. Can y'all see that? Let me get it. Let me get a yay or an A. Huh? Yay.
Islam.
Yes.
All right, so those in connection, this is coming from this particular book. I don't know if you have this one, but it's this is Morris Leader's Historical Message to America. So you may have that, and I will get you this if you want it. It's not been edited properly, but a bunch of people wanted it. I just out. So anyway, here we go. But this also speaks on us about our economics. And I wanted to deal with this right now, okay, because we are moving into the part where, things are going to be rapidly moving up for the new members, right? You're kind of in a thing that we've been dealing with for a minute. So the regular Sunday schools where we sit around and go, who made you? Oh, Allah. That's from 1 to 12. You're grown. The leaders of the guiders of the nation, according to the additional laws, right, also need to be informed what to do. Right. So this is the guiders of the nation part 2 of Sunday school. All the new people who do certain things traditionally, but we also move forward in what the prophet is on so that we can be competent in today's reality and use what he's given so that we can really live free. All right, so this comes from that historical message. It says, in connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread as the circumstances demand. No other one thing is more needed amongst us at this time than greater economic power, better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and bigger incomes will follow our economic security. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar people cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to the genuine enjoyments of the spiritualities of life. Okay? Our men, women, and children should be taught to believe in the capacity of our group to succeed in business, in spite of the trials and failures of some of them. Trials and failures in business are by no means confined to any particular group of people. Some business ventures of all people fail. We have many men and women among our people who are qualified both by training and experience. And it is a sad weakness in us as a people that we have withheld the very encouragement, support, and patronage that would have made some of our worthy business ventures a grand success. And worst of all, have joined in the condemnation of them when they fail. Except in case of actual dishonesty, discourtesy, lack of service, and actual unreliability, our business enterprises in every field of endeavor should have the fullest of confidence, cooperation, and patronage whenever they can be given. So much was said in that, it's unbelievable. For those that understand, this is also where we pull our rules and regulations for customs and the way we regulate businesses within our district. And you will be fined within the district, right? If you have a particular business and it becomes dishonest, discourteous, lack of service, and actual unreliability, then you're going to be held accountable for those things. See, the prophet, when you understand what he's giving you, due to the fact that he was the royal prince, giving you an understanding of the full kingdom, but putting it in a way that had to last for almost 100 years into the time in which it's said in prophecy that it must fulfill itself, right? And then, you got to go back and then piece it together, what he's saying. So when people are anxious to do things, so are we. But it's still done by the laws of what the prophet Joel put forth, so that we can have the success of the thing that moves for a good 1,000 years. So let's move back up a little bit here. Prophet Noble Joel said economic security. Said better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and bigger incomes will follow our economic security. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. Okay, this is very important because people believe economic power is money. Now, guess what? You could be correct, but it's hard to say because, today people believe money is what they got in that bank account or what they folding back in their pocket or what they go out there and sell they folks down the street for a little, from some drug money or whatever. People do strange things for this thing that they believe is money. Although it is the medium of exchange today. I'm not saying you don't need the medium of exchange. I'm saying that you need to understand what real economic power is, and economic power is money, but you got to understand what real money is. In the situation in which you are in, not the one that you see on TV or the one that that we've been dreaming for all this one a tangle money. Just a bank account full of money. Yeah, you may be for a moment. For a quick moment. This is if you were a believer, like we said earlier, a Moorish American. Speaking of Moorish Americans, those who have an understanding of the Prophet Noble Joel, not only who he is, but been in it for a moment, but also his prophecies. Okay. So when we understand economic power, now power can be manipulated. Like there's a power in the wave, a power in the arm, there's a power in dirt, there's a power in a tree, there's a power in a rock. You understand? There's a power in a seed. There's a power in an idea. Economic power is very important for you to understand because power is an idea that could change. It can also change as the ethers change, meaning another power can come along or an upgrade. You understand what a power is? Want me to? Okay, at one time there was Microsoft 1.2. Excuse me, let's just use Apple, right? Apple phone, what it was, it 1.9 or something, whatever. And that thing up to 8 now, 9, 10, whatever, right? Well, that economic power, the power is the increase of the technology of the Apple that gives you more tricks and things or whatever it is that the people are looking for on that particular device. You see, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, what you can do now with the Apple and you couldn't do back then. So the economic power or the power increase, therefore giving more economic stability to that particular company. Are y'all following me right now?
Islam.
All right.
Islam.
Okay. So, Islam. So when the prophet is speaking about the preaching, dang right when he says preaching like we're doing right now. Oh man, stop. Why not? Do you need preaching too? I need preaching too. You could be over there preaching to me how to be a much better accountant. Flip my money a little bit more wiser. Man, preach that to me, homie. You know, we get caught up in they stuff. Oh, they don't like preaching. Okay, you don't like preaching. I like listening to a preacher like thing that's going to get me motivated, to get me out there to do a thing and keep me on fire so I can, you know what I'm saying, make that money. I'll tell you what the type of money I'm talking about. Sure ain't that money what you think is out there that's going to hit the ground in the morning. You're going to step over it, burn, it's going to be burning in the street. Think I'm playing. In connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security. Now, what did he say? How to do that? Look what he said. No one great thing is more needed among us this time than great economic power. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread as the circumstances demand. Now, look what he says here. Better positions for our men and women, more business employment, which means businesses to employ people for our children, boys, and girls in the community, and bigger incomes will follow our economic security. Now, the power will give us the security. Now, let's go look at the power. Understanding what money is. Y'all with me?
Islam.
Islam. Islam. Can you cite the source of that reading again for me, please? Gratitude.
Islamism. Let me find out what I was just. I think I just shut it down. All right, hold on. Oh yeah, this is the. This is what the prophet was speaking on. This is called the. You can find this the Moorish leaders' historical message to America. Okay, you can find that in the Moorish literature out there. I just compiled everything the prophet had in certain particular books, and this one's called Moorish jurisprudence. If you want me to get it to you, I can. People had it, you know, I had this a while ago. My brother Shafiq and them have it. I think he even teaches from it. Few people have it, but anyway, but that's where it comes from, Mo. All right. So if you can get that, it's out there. It's called The Moorish Leaders' Historical Message to America, written by the prophet in 1928 or 29.
Gratitude.
All right. All right. So anyway, yeah. So let us go look at economic power so that we may get the economic security that we're looking for, where we are secure so that we can promote more business positions for our men and our women, ourselves included, obviously, and the children, right? And those children to come, right? And he lays it out how to do it right here. He tells you, you have to create the positions for our men and women. More business needs create the business, and then therefore those employment opportunities, will be there. All right, so this is how we're going to do it. All right, so let me find this deal on Monday. No, I didn't. Oh, I think I know. Okay, so this comes out of the missionary manual. Some people have this one. It's called Law Governs All Events. But there's a chapter in here that deals with the history of money. And right now, we're just going to start with the money that we all use. Okay? And we're going to prove a particular thing here. All right? Through what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali has given us to understand. But you have to open up. So, fiat money. Now, fiat money is what we're dealing with right now. It's called note. It's called a note. And we're going to look at it. So, fiat, I just want to give you the definition real quick. So, can you guys all see this? You should be able to.
Yes, Islam.
Islam.
Thank you.
Wow.
So fiat money is money which is declared legal tender. Listen to me. This term is this term and how it's put together is so important. And we're going to come back, but to understand that phrase. All right, so we'll come back real quick. All right, so fiat money, which is declared legal tender, but is not backed up by anything, such as gold or silver. Its two characteristics are that it is not backed up by anything of intrinsic value, and it is decreed legal tender. Legal is one of the keys words here. Now, some sharp Moors should already know where I'm going when I say legal. Who's been studying? And we're going to get there though. But so legal tender means that the government issued a law requiring everyone.
Lawful, right?
Excuse me?
It's not lawful, right?
That's right. It's not lawful. Exactly right. It is, but I'm going to say you're right, but no, it's not lawful. That's why they had to declare it legal. Okay? So you're right. Okay, so the fiat money is legal. Where was I? Such as gold and silver, two characteristics are that it is not backed up by anything of intrinsic value, and it is decreed legal tender. Legal tender means that the government issued a law requiring everyone to accept the currency in commerce, usually under necessity. Now that's where they get it, or they make it, legal, right there. But anyway, since the money really is worthless, the only way the so-called government can get it accepted is by forcing the people to do so, often under criminal penalties. Therefore, their own Federal Reserve notes are fiat money. There is a typical pattern that emerges when fiat money is issued. The government artificially expands the money supply through the issuance of more fiat currency. Thus is followed with legal tender laws to force the acceptance of the fiat money. Next, all the gold and silver disappears into private hoards, or it's paid to foreign traders who insist on real money of exchange for their wars, or their coffee. Often when the inflation is high, the government will have to issue new bill valued at multiples of the old bills. This usually leads to discounts and civil disobedience through barter. The last stage of each cycle is rampant inflation and economic chaos. This is exactly what happens when you deal with what is known as fiat money. So yes, money. There's a thing called money, right? And there's a few things called money. There's another one called fractional money. So which money are you relying on for your children's salvation and their legacy? Most Negroes have only the concept of fiat money, and it looks like this. Can you guys see that? It's still on the old screen.
No.
Hold on.
Still on the old screen.
Okay. Oh. All righty. And it looks like this. Let me know, as we all know. Okay? We all know what this is. Some of us have done things in the name of this money that, are quite suspectable. That wouldn't be very respectable in a moral society. And what you're looking at is fiat, worthless currency, until you give it a particular value. How do we know it's fiat? Because it says it right there, as everybody knows already. Right here, notes, Federal Reserve, which we know is a private business. All right. All right. So when you can comprehend this, you can even see your own salvation on multiple levels on other things. All right, so we're going to get there. All right, so this particular Federal Reserve note is what is known as fiat currency. Okay, and I just read what that is. Now let's go here and let's go here. And on the back of this fiat currency, the United States of America puts their seal, and then we have this seal, right? That a lot of people, which is somewhat true. There's some historical understanding turned upside down. You can see a little 7. Hold on. People get into these things with this thing, right? Try to make it make sense. And I ain't mad, but hold on. Is this thing even working? Kind of turn it upside down, but doesn't like it wants to. All right, but people get into, turn it upside down, and then there's a little 7 because of the dark part over here. Yeah, I guess so. And things like that. Who knows? Could be a lot of stuff in there. The little spider over here that drops down, the spider webs that go through the whole thing right here. And if you pull on it, you can even see a little owl up there. Okay. All right. And okay, another thing. Okay, it's in the shape of a prayer rug. All right. And if you notice that ones are all, in every corner are one, meaning, independent. All these things that one can see in this particular spell of fiat that they've made out of thin air to keep it going is nothing but a contract. It's just a contract, and it's very fancy. All right, but now this is what real money. Something happened. Wrapper. I don't know why it's doing that. All right. So anyway, we'll come back to this, and I'm going to have. I need to show you. My gosh. Money. Pretty crazy. So anyway, the fiat money, like I was saying, right, is what most people are dealing with also. Now, we as Moorish Americans have to understand when you become a Moorish American, you move up in law, or a you move out of a corporate, which is known as a civilly dead state in law, and you move out of that up to a more divine state in law, which they are, um, can be seen today as more private law. Okay. And this is what we have to understand, that we're under our own divine law. If I can find this darn dollar bill for you, I can show you the difference between that and this other thing here. Quick act money. See how that works. All right. Sorry about the delay. Sorry about the delay. About the delay. All right, so this is where we were. All right, so this is the Federal Reserve note, and this here is the back of it. Now, this is more of the real money. This is really money right here. We're going to go to the understanding of it right now also. Okay, so what do you see? What don't you see on the same one? Well, it's not the same $1 bill, but what don't you see on this $1 bill? You don't see Federal Reserve note. You see silver certificate. Okay. This was popping all the way up until 1933. This was what the Prophet Ali and them were looking at and they were dealing with, you know, and so to understand what happened when the Prophet got back all the gold and silver, right, and all the land, and if you can piece it all together, why they had to change even the money is because this is backed up by silver. They would have had to put his face on this money. Prophet Ali,
Wow.
you understanding? So when you see silver certificate, well, the only people who have rights to silver today would be us. In what? It says the silver certificates of this certifies that there has been deposited in the treasury of the United States of America. They had to come with the private Federal Reserve and came with the notes because the prophets are called the gold and silver. And like he told you in the prophecies, he has all the gold and silver. He has the European and the Asiatics in the jug, and he has the stopper. Most people couldn't understand when he said he connected back all the broken wires. Right? Let's see our connection here. So when you see these silver certificates, they had to stop the circulation after that and go into what's known as a bankruptcy and come with what they came with, which was this right here in 1933. Okay, a Federal Reserve note, which note means debt. What is a note? Promissory note. These are promissory notes floated by the Federal Reserve, which is a private institution that came into an agreement with the United States of America to manage certain things like a service corporation. Right? It's so important that you understand. So don't, that this right here is easily toppled then. If it is just a Federal Reserve note or a private note, like it's like a note from McDonald's. You walk into Mickey D's, they give you a fake script to come back in and get 3 burgers later. That's what this is, yo. Understand that when the Federal Reserve, that private institution that has promissory notes floating in the name of the United States corporation, falls, which it is, and it already has been took over. That's why the change and the money is being shorted out there. That's why there's a great change shortage. Anyway, so when we see this though, you see y'all just take the dude in the middle out, right? But you see what's about to be the new thing coming. Things backed up by silver certificates. Now, this is for, in our understanding, right, is what is known as commodity money. You go there. You guys still with me? Because sometimes I'll be on.
Islam.
Islam.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Run it.
So remember what I said about fiat money. Now let me say this real quick and add this part. Okay. Let me stop sharing and reshare because this is a really important part. Okay. So fiat money, we just kind of went over, which I just showed you, which is a Federal Reserve note. It is a declared legal tender. Let's deal with that. Who declared it legal? Peep out this. Peep this out. Let me show you how your prophet Drew Ali is.
Islam, that would be the legislature, right?
Okay.
Under President Roosevelt's New Deal of 1933.
Okie dokie. All right. I got you. Right. 1933 corporate. So the corporate part of the government are that corporate agreements with private corporations issued the money and they came into a contractual agreement. Is what we're really saying. All right, so, but look at this. My point is this, and you're correct, Mo, but my point is this. So declared is very important. There's somebody declared, which is the government. The legal part is even more important. It's because that deals with the people. That deals with the people who have to deal with that tender and have to deal with the government forcing this particular tender under the law of necessity. This worthless tender under the law of necessity. What deals with that is this term, legal. These are three terms: legal, declared, legal, and tender. But legal deals with this, as you already should know where I'm going. You guys see the new thing I just put up? Right.
No.
Start pasting that and just start it up. Okay, so when it says legal, remember what that means. Legal means what? Domicile. Okay, well, hopefully people kind of caught this a little bit where I'm going. All right. So domicile, person's legal home. Okay, so when they say you're dealing with legal tender, you're dealing with the legal domicile or the domicile of that particular declare of the particular people that declared are in a particular legal domicile, in other words, are a domicile, and they said this is tender to those people in that domicile. Are you guys following me right now? Because this part's a little tricky.
Islam.
Yeah, it's Islam. So we don't have to use that tender?
Well, you can, but you sure don't have to be stuck using it. And I'm going to show us how. We don't have to.
Islam.
Okay.
Islam.
All right. And there's, go ahead, Sheik.
Yeah, I just want to add that we can actually demand that we only receive the gold and silver standard, that we actually don't accept their legal tender, and we go by our Ustamani code, our international code, Islam.
Islam. You jumping ahead, but not so, Islam is not jumping ahead. That was exactly And we do have the right to do that, but there's the things that need to be set up to do that is where we're at now, right? But what I'm trying to get us to understand too is what you're saying, right? But it's to understand that that legal part is the part where they're saying that that is really referencing to people who are domiciled that declare that declaration to declare this tender legal is talking to the people who are domiciled under them, which are the 14th Amendment corporate citizens. This is why that whole game had to change because you had a corporation issuing money.
Islam, Mo.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, Islam. All right. So, right. And now this is so important for us because through choice of domicile, this is you choosing your domicile under there, which will choose the taxing liability of that civil liability. Now, the tax is it is the legal tender. Tax. That tax is another word for their legal tender. You understand? So anything that's a tax on it, even money's tax under that in a fractal system, or what was it? What is that called? That money? Yeah, a fractal money. Okay, system. Another word for that then could be a tax. So when you understand that, you can understand that you don't have to use or accept that, but if but there has to be where you have your estate set up so you can transfer that tender into actual assets. This is what's going on right now. This is what they're doing. As everyone's locked down and they know everything's flipping over because of what what's been done, and they understand that the legal tender will no longer be the tender of the world. It's going back to more of a gold standard. This is where we come in with birthright. This is a whole lot. I'm jumping ahead. So let me move on from that part real quick. So the legal domicile of a person. So in other words, that through your choice of domicile, which is in the religious body politic known as the Moore Science Temple of America, right? You are no longer subjected to that legal tender, and you do have a right under your body politic and its districts to then form your legal tender or what is known as commodity money. Okay. Now, this is where nationals function on. When we're talking about money, and if you speak about money, you have to really understand. Okay, what is one is that money changes with us. We are no longer under that particular system like that. And sometimes without you understanding, you can actually mess yourself up because you have grown to a national standing, a status. So you do have to move your commercial affairs up that matches that, which is more noble. Nobles deal with gold, silver, copper, and aluminum, my people. Precious things that hold intrinsic value over long periods of time, not just a fiat currency that if this corporation goes down, my entire wealth goes down. Because that's what's about to happen to a lot of people. So let me give you an understanding of what I mean. So we just looked at fiat money. Let's go look at the type of money we use as nationals and as nobles or as just people who are smart. So this is called commodity money. Okay. So we as nationals use commodity money. So I'm going to read this. And am I going a long time? Well, I'm just going to go into my time. This commodity money is the oldest form and has its roots in the barter system. As each ancient society, Moorish, evolved, there were always or have been a few items were more commonly used in barter than other commodities. This is because they had certain characteristics which made them attractive to almost everyone. Eventually, these items were traded in large measure because they represent a storehouse of value, which could be exchanged at a later time for something else. At this point, they ceased being barter and became money. They had become a medium of exchange since the medium of exchange was a commodity with intrinsic value. It is called commodity money. Common examples of commodity money include ornamental color, ornaments, colored seashells, usual stones, cattle, sheep, corn, wheat, or other foods. Eventually, when man learned how to refine metal, right, and craft them into tools, the metals themselves became valuable. Initially, these metals were traded as commodity money due to their intrinsic value, but they had some additional characteristics that made them very desirable as money. It was not perishable, it was portable, and it could be precisely measured. Money in its fundamental form and functions needs a storehouse. That's why I probably said we need storehouses, right? And a measure of value. In this way, it's measured by which all other things of value can be compared. The ability to precisely assess metals impurity and weight makes them ideally suited for this function. Men on every continent and throughout history have chosen metals for their ideal storehouse and measure of value. Gold is the one metal that has been selected by centuries of trial and error to represent this storehouse and measures for value. Silver has run a close second to gold throughout the history. There seems to be enough gold in the world to keep its value high enough for useful coinage. Gold is less abundant than silver, but more abundant than platinum. It is a commodity in great demand for purposes other than money. It is sought for both industry and ornamental purposes, which assure its intrinsic value. The purity and weight of gold can be precisely measured. So gold meets each of the three required requirements for money. It's estimated that approximately 45% of all their gold mines since the so-called discovery of America is in various vaults of many governments. I don't want to go on all the way through it. I already gave a basic understanding of what we are now moving into as the world is actually kind of moving back into also. There are more independent things under a collective, but more independent societies, those people who have listened to the overall plan of the Ages from the Prophet and those other particular societies have listened to their particular people under their binding victory, are understanding that it is more moving to a commodity money, more moving to those barter trade things that have intrinsic and have actual value, right? Instead of things that can be manipulated within the market under a fictitious fiat currency that people have made up and ruled the world with under tyranny. You understand? That particular system only leads to tyranny. This system leads to actual balance. Okay, it leads to things that are true and measured. Things can be precisely understood from both levels. There don't have to be any double talk, triple talk, or made up concepts in reality. See, fiat money is for fiat people. It is for plastic people. It is for people who have no nationality. It's for people who are just fictitious characters in the overall scheme of things out there in life. You understand? Those nationals, real people, real flesh and blood moving entity, people created from our Father God, right? Deal with the natural law, the natural way of movement, so that we could understand how these things move here and use them for the betterment of our environment, of our people. Prefer not a stranger before thy own blood, of course, you know what I'm saying, and people. So what does it have to deal with our upliftment? It has everything to deal with our upliftment, is to understand commodity money because you are a national and have attached yourself back to the national government and you have birthrights under there. But let's go look at a few more things before we just get directly to the birthright. So now that we understand a little bit of fractal money and commodity money, right? Let's go look at it. I'm gonna go see it. Okay. All right. Anyone need a break? All right.
No, Islam. So I have a question. So with the fiat money, wouldn't it be smart to use the fiat money wisely to get commodity money?
Yes. Islam. Yes, indeed. Mind, I check mine. You are on it. That's right.
Islam.
That's exactly what we're going to, that's exactly the plan that I would suggest.
Carrot bars.
You know what I'm saying? And a few of us have been on it, right? And we've talked about it once before, but now we're going to go look at a little bit more of the reality of it. Okay. So let me make sure I didn't move. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's move to this. No, that's it. Let's move to this real quick and then we'll move on. I want to read what the prophet said about that fiat money. Okay, so the prophet Noble Drew Ali in the oral statements and prophecies of Noble Drew Ali, and if you don't have that, just let me know. That comes with the student manual. You'll get that also. Okay, and I suggest everybody read them, the prophecies, understand, so you can understand what's going on, right? Look what he said. There's going to be diseases, earthquakes, etc. But anyway, so he says money will be burnt in the street and we won't be able to buy much. And when I put my spirit in the street, you won't be able to sell your car for 25 cents. Why can't they just burn up things like that? Because it's fiat. What else did he say about some money? He said a lot. But I just wanted to kind of hit you with the fiat. You're gonna see it. $20 bill. Yeah, go ahead.
Islam. He
Yeah.
also said that when I put my spirit in the streets, you won't be able to sell your car for 25 cents. Islam.
Yes, he did. And you know what I mean? Because it's not backed up. It's not backed up. That's a lot behind those statements. And we need to be a little sharp. All right. So let's look at this, how to become really sharp on this. And I want to make sure I found my for you. All right. So we're going to go look at what commodity money looks like in the reality of right now. And what we are doing as a temple and as a people to move forward in our economic security by getting the economic power. This is kind of the last part that I want to get to a little bit so that you can see the realities of it. Okay, so before there, now everyone keep in mind that those who were on the line a few weeks ago, not the new members, don't expect you to remember this, obviously, but when I showed everyone the district, okay, I showed everybody the district, what the government looks like, all that, and our industry. Okay. So not only do you know those who have been with us for a moment, what the industry looks like, the government. You've also been here long enough to see who we are, the legitimacy of our temple, which is so important to understand where we're about to tell you and where we're about to go right now. All right. So, we show and prove on this. So where I'm going now, it's not a joke, it's not a fantasy. These things are real out there, and it's a choice of you to live in the matrix with the fiat or come out and build the commodity world to live in and then get the birthright. All right, so I say that to move here, trying to sound all fancy for you. All right, so let's look at it like this. All right, I give you guys everything on that. All right, I did. So this is what that dollar bill looked like when it said silver certificates. Remember the silver certificate and not the Federal Reserve note. All right. If you want to see it again, it's kind of right here. Let me just pull it up real quick. All right. So this is that silver certificate, which is more or less commodity based on commodity money.
And blow it up.
Blow it up.
Yeah, we're still seeing the thumbnails.
Oh. All right.
Islam.
So this is what is known as commodity money. This is real money and it's silver certificate like we were speaking about before. So all this really is known as receipt money also. I didn't cover that today. We'll cover that again. But this is a receipt. Okay. Back in the day, you could have taken this back in to that bank and got your silver back. All right. This is a receipt backed, it's a certificate, not a note. There's a difference between a certificate and a note. All right. So like with us, the prophet said they have a treasury. Well, a treasury is just not a bank account. Treasury is a structure. And like I showed those who were here to see that, what our structure is and what that incorporates, right? And so a part of that obviously is your holdings. And in your holdings, right, people put things there, and then they get certificates of value to what they've put into the holdings. Say it's like your family trust. Your family trust has holdings, okay? And what you do, right, like somewhat answering what the sister said, is you take the fiat currency and you go buy things that hold intrinsic value along with things that are for long-term purposes, like gold, silver, copper, whatever. Or there's other commodities too that we're going to look at. But then you take that and you transfer that, obviously into your family living trust. You don't want to put fiat currency in there. You want to put things that hold a value, and you create what is known as the certificate by getting it appraised, sitting it in there, and then you doing the thing to create the certificate of value, right? That's what this is. Somewhat. They have a holdings known as, back then, I guess it was what it was at the, what was it called? Fort Knox or something, where they were holding silver and gold, and then they valued it, appraised it, insured it, and then gave certificates, which these are the certificates. Now you could have came in with a bag full of gold, and they would have given you receipt, and you would have had these silver certificates, or you could have done it. You could have done this yourself, like we're about to do. And we, due to the fact we are part of the original republic and we have a right to create our certificates, we can do a lot. Hope you guys are comprehending what I'm saying. We can do a whole lot.
Islamism.
Okay, so let's look at this other thing that I have for us real quick. This is what is known as how you create your certificates, right? And on ours, obviously it's going to have the profit on there. You dig? Our noble back certificates will have the profit on there. Okay, now this is how you do it. What am I doing? Oh, I gotta go into. All right, let's see if it'll work. Let's see if I can. All right, so one of them, a commodity, is this. Uh-oh. Crapper. 1 second, everyone. Hmm. Okay, look at this. Okay, so this is what we've been talking about, right? And I'm trying to explain to Moors. I'm going to reiterate this right now. Okay, so this is what we've been doing, and a few other people. But anyway, this is the concept of the Prophet Noble Dua Ali spoke. People said that they need to have what is known as warehouses, or things to this effect. All right, so most people today are giving away their wealth because they need what they think is money, known as fiat money. All right, and so we stopped doing that, and I guess we can give this out to the general people right now because we're live on YouTube, right? But this is everyone's kind of doing it, right? So anyway, what you see before you are aluminum ingots. Okay, so this understand what you just saw with the other money, right? silver certificates, aluminum certificates. Certificates are based on the amount of silver ingots that they had in their fort, known as a warehouse or a bank. A fort is just a warehouse or a bank, someplace secure to keep their particular precious metals. Right? Are y'all with me?
Islam.
Islam.
All right. So when we're asking people to stop sending your wealth away and stop trading in your cans, for within a half a year, we could be stacked like that. And these will be what are known as affectionate bonds backed, or certificates, known as affectionate certificates, because that the bonds of affection therefore unite thee and thy brothers and sisters, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. So when people are out there in need or in trouble, we got a bond for them, backed up by aluminum, creating the commodity wealth. Now, where does aluminum come from, Bo? We're going to get a little bit deeper.
Islamism.
We're going to get a little bit more deeper on this.
Islamism.
You see it now, Mo? So here's another one. This is copper. Everybody out there giving away their copper, throwing away pennies, just throwing pennies, walking over a penny like you just too proud to pick up that damn penny. You better pick that penny up. You better pick that penny up every time you see a sucker drop a penny. That was meant for you. Because we got to go over here and stack that so we can burn that and make our ingots. Understand me? Shout out. Everybody out there worrying about some damn fiat now. I'm gonna cut off.
Islam.
Okay, go ahead, sis.
I just wanted to say Islam.
Okay, thank you for that too. That stopped me from getting myself riled up. Okay, so praise Allah. So when you look at things like this, imagine this being you. Because we've already started. But this is not the only thing. Okay, this is just a small thing. I don't know why. I ain't going through all of them. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Check this out. All right. Y'all see this?
Islam wars.
Doki. So this is where I want to take us real quick, right here. Okay, so that, what you're looking at is a rock. Where do rocks come from, everybody?
Mother Earth.
Mother
The
Earth.
That's right. And what do we call that? Land, right?
Islam.
So land means, for us as Moorish Americans, birthright. So when you're just plain rich, the prophet speaking on, everybody would show looking for a check. Right? Because you're used to fiat money. You're used to hands like cups. When you know that he gave you back land, which is a fee simple estate, and Bitmium is flourishing here on the West Coast. I ain't even gonna tell you how much it is now. But I can go dig a hole and I'm paid for generations. Oh, but how are we gonna get the land? I'm gonna show you that in a minute. Ain't no secret no more. So I forgot what this one is actually called. I do have it there, hold on. So those are called, that metal, this is rhenium, which is a precious metal. And the first one is bismuth or bismuth, B-I-S-M-U-T-H. All right, so those metals are easily attained Not one. Well, the first one's a little hard, but it is out there. Okay. But let me come on back here. I don't know. I just. Hmm. I'm going to show you a few more commodities. All right, so not only can we dig a hole and get this out, but do you know what this is? Right here, everyone?
Islam, concrete.
Okay, Islamism. Anybody else?
Mortar.
Mortar, Islam. Anybody else?
Granite,
Sister said granite, Islam. Hardister, how about you? What you say? Sleepy, sleepy. No, that's that's the fun.
I see industry, Mo.
I see industry too. But what type of industry?
Islam.
What type of industry are you really looking at?
Islam, I see infrastructure, building infrastructure.
Building infrastructure. Sister said concrete, building infrastructure. That's right. And when I tell you what it is the industry I told y'all that we're in. You know what that's called?
Hemp.
Hempcrete.
Islam.
That's hemp. They grew that concrete.
Oh,
Islamism.
that's amazing.
That's right, sis. That's right. It is. They grew this concrete. Okay, it is. I'm gonna show you something else. Hold on. Now this is copper. For all you people throwing away all of your wires because it's an old speaker, please stop doing that. We'll strip it. Don't you trip.
Islam,
Stop
there's
throwing
a
away
TV
your
down
money.
the street.
Stop throwing away the TV. Stop throwing away your money. Be like the old junk person sometime. We'll come around and get it. Now, so these people went. Now, if the smart person's looking, not only are you seeing businesses, look at the business here. So you got the we'll just call them the trolls of any city that you can go out there and employ and say, bring me back every can. Stop going to those other ones and I'll pay you an extra $5. I'll pay you an extra. I was gonna say crackhead, but you know, we don't do nothing like that. But what I'm going to, so I ain't gonna give nobody no ideas. What am I doing? So you don't do that to our people. Instead of trying to give them crack, you're like, look, man, you go out there, since you out there anyway, I'm gonna pay you an extra 20 to bring me them things. And then as he brings them in, that's one of the homies or one of our folks out there getting that business started. The other one, you know what I'm saying, we got the warehouse over here where they over there smelting. And then the other part of the warehouse, they twisted. Now we got commodity to sell around the world from people just picking up stuff. I'm not gonna just keep giving away everything, but this is nothing to give away because everyone knows this. But what we have to understand is that we have an extra niche in the market that they don't have. And ain't nobody gonna get away with that. You know what I'm saying? Let me go back real quick and show you this. What happened? Huh? Now look at this. So that's one little is everybody following me with the commodity money on next? You know that we on live on YouTube. I forgot.
Islam.
Islam.
Giving
This is
away all the
economic
Jews.
freedom.
Yes, it is. Giving away all the Jews, but it's okay. Everyone needs to get a little understanding.
Like we close out soon. You giving up the Jews now.
I am for the close out. Somebody say something. There you go. We're gonna close this live stream. So we got the other dudes coming. I can't give away everything. Okay, so praise Allah to everybody on our live stream on YouTube. You know, and
Justice will catch you
come
if
join
anything is wrong.
come join Triple 43 because they out there playing with y'all and we not playing. but they may not be playing. I shouldn't say that. I don't know what people are doing. But there's a way that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali has established for us. You would just follow his plan. Islamism. So thank you for everybody on YouTube. Temple 43 says Islam.